Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Good Friday morning, everyone. This is a beautiful little edition uh, of the Book of the Law. Okay, it's like a pocket edition. This is the one I usually carry with me. It was originally published by Magical Child Publishing in association with the OTO. And they're kind of special because this particular one is a presentation copy, and so it isn't usually for sale on the market, but presented at certain occasions of the OTO. But it's a beautiful little Book of the Law. Last night, Constance and I joined our OTO friends here in Sacramento at a lovely dinner at our favorite restaurant here in town. It's sort of a Nepalese. My mouth is watering just thinking about last night. And it was part of the social hour that the local OTO Oasis here, 418 Oasis, hosts every month, just sort of as an outreach. Yes, members come, but non-members are welcome, and indeed, it's to encourage non-members to come and find out more about the OTO and meet other OTO members and are comforted that they're probably not mass murderers and things like that. And it doesn't give us a great deal of time because we're eating and ordering and things like that. But it's a wonderful, warm initial introduction, and it's social and very informal. And I was thinking initial questions that people ask concerning Thelema, the OTO, magic in general, especially magic that centers around the work of Aleister Crowley and Thelemic magic. And it's the subject of the Book of the Law. And how would you say, between bites of spicy food, start to explain the Book of the Law? Because on the surface, it's pretty heavy stuff, and so it got me thinking anyway, because there are three little sections that aren't the Book of the Law themselves, but Crowley's introduction to the Book of the Law that he appended to the beginning of early publications of the Book of the Law, and two of those are included in this particular edition. And I'd like to share the preface with you today, because it is one of those things that start to explain it, starting with square one. Now, Crowley received the Book of the Law in 1904. Okay, and it had different various publications and stuff until then. But this preface was written in 1921. Now, if you can, if you're familiar enough with early 20th century history, you'll know that the world was changing dramatically between 1904 and 1921. Number one, World War I happened. Okay. Uh, and number two, uh, the the rise of social unrest following World War I that would eventually lead to fascist governments in Spain, Italy, and Germany, uh, which led to World War II. Crowley was alive during all of this, but he wrote this in 1921, and there was all sorts of things were changing dramatically. Up until 1904, we're really talking about 19th century kind of stuff. We're still Europe was still kind of readjusting after Napoleon. Okay, and but from a technological, scientific, philosophical point of view, things hadn't changed much in about 1,200 years. And now all of a sudden, things were changing with dizzying speed. Shortly after Crowley's reception of the Book of the Law. Here's what Crowley's preface to the Book of the Law. This book was dictated to me on April 8th, 9th, and 10th, 1904 EV. EV means Era Vulgara, Common Era. By Iwas, a being whose nature I do not fully understand, but who described himself as, quote, the minister of Hur Par Krat, the Lord of Silence. The intents of the book proved to strict scientific demonstration that he possessed knowledge and power quite beyond anything that is hitherto associated with human faculties. The circumstances of the dictation are described in Equinox, Volume 1, Number 7, but a fuller account with an outline of the proof of the character of the book is in preparation. This is in 1921 and will be issued shortly. And the editor's note said that was the Equinox of the Gods. Okay, I usually share excerpts from that around March and April. The book announces a new law for mankind. It replaces the religious and moral sanctions of the past, which have everywhere broken down, by a principle valid for each man and woman in the world and self-evidently indefeasible. The spiritual revolution announced in the book has already taken place. Hardly a country where it is not openly manifest. Ignorance of the true meaning of this new law has led to gross anarchy. Its conscious adoption in its proper sense is the sole cure of political, social, and racial unrest, which have brought about the World War, the catastrophe of Russia, and the threatening attitude of China, India, and Islam. 1921. Its solution of the fundamental problems of mathematics and philosophy will establish a new epoch in history. But it must not be supposed that so potent an instrument of energy can be used without danger. I summon, therefore, by the power and authority entrusted to me, every great spirit and mind now on this planet incarnate, to take effective hold of this transcendent force and apply it to the advancement of the welfare of the human race. I'm going to repeat that, okay? I summon, therefore, by the power and authority entrusted to me, every great spirit and mind now on this planet incarnate to take effective hold of this transcendent force and apply it to the advancement of the welfare of the human race. For as the experience of these 21 years has shewn too terribly, the book cannot be ignored. It has leavened mankind unaware, and man must make therefore the bread of life. Its ferment has begun to work upon the grape of thought. Man must obtain, therefore, from the wine of ecstasy. Come then, all ye, in the name of the Lord of the Aeon, the crowned and conquering child, Haru-Ra-Ha. I call ye to partake this sacrament. Know, will, dare, and be silent. The priest of the princes, Ankh of Nakansu, the AN 21, Sol in 20th degree Scorpio, Tunis. That's where he wrote it. Wow. He follows that with an introduction. And I'm not sure what year the introduction was written, but the introduction is in several parts. It's all very short, but I'm just going to read section 1, and tomorrow for Saturday morning cartoons, we'll finish it up. Introduction. Isn't this? It's a sweet little book here. Introduction. The book. This book was dictated in Cairo between noon and 1 p.m. on 3 successive days, April 8th, 9th, and 10th, in the year 1904. The author called himself Aiwass and claimed to be the, quote, the minister of Hur-Par-Krat, unquote. That is, a messenger from the forces ruling this earth at present, as will be explained later on. Okay, he really cut to the bone, simplified the whole thing. The minister of Hur-Par-Krat, that is, a messenger from the forces ruling this earth at present, as will be explained later on. How could he prove that he was, in fact, a being of a kind superior to any of the human race, and so entitled to speak with authority? Evidently, he must show knowledge and power, such as no man has ever known to possess. 2. He showed his knowledge chiefly by the use of cipher or cryptogram in certain passages to set forth recondite facts, including some events which had yet to take place, such as no human being could possibly be aware of them. Thus, the proof of his claim exists in the manuscript itself. It is independent of any human witness. The study of these passages necessarily demands supreme human scholarship to interpret. It needs years of intense application. A great deal has still to be worked out, but enough has been discovered to justify his claim. The most skeptical intelligence is compelled to admit its truth. This matter is best studied under the Master Therian, whose years of arduous research have led him to enlightenment. On the other hand, the language of most of the book is admirably simple, clear, vigorous. No one can read it without being stricken to the very core of his being. The more than human power of Aiwass is shewn by the influence of his master and of the book upon actual events, and history fully supports the claim made by him. These facts are appreciable by everyone, but are better understood with the help of the Master Therian. Okay, that's Crowley's Magus title. The full detailed account of the events leading up to the dictation of this book, with a facsimile reproduction of the manuscript and essay by the Master Therian, is published in the Equinox of the Gods. Part 2, The Universe. And then we'll continue after that tomorrow. The universe. This book explains the universe. And it does. This book explains the universe. The elements are nuit, N-U-I-T, nuit. Space. That is the total of possibilities of every kind. And, this is second element, hadit, H-A-D-I-T, hadit, which is any point which has experience of these possibilities. Now that's getting right down to the nitty-gritty of what the universe is. Nuit, space, that is the total possibilities of every kind, and hadit, any point which has experience of these possibilities. This idea is for literary convenience symbolized by the Egyptian goddess Nuit, a woman bending over like the arch of a night sky, and hadit, symbolized as a winged globe at the heart of Nuit. And people will recognize that as the main characters of the Stele of Revealing. Every event is a uniting of some one monad with one of the experiences possible to it. Every man and every woman is a star. That is an aggregate of such experiences, constantly changing with each fresh event which affects him or her either consciously or subconsciously. Each one of us has thus an universe of our own. But it is the same universe for each as soon as it includes all possible experience. This implies the extension of consciousness to include all other consciousness. Consciousness. In our present states, the object that you see is never the same as the one I see. We infer that it's the same because your experience tallies with mine on so many points that the actual differences of our observation are negligible. For instance, if a friend is walking between us, you see only his left side, I his right, but we agree it's the same man. Although we may differ not only as to what we may see of his body, but as to what we know of his qualities. This conviction of identity grows stronger as we see him more often and get to know him better. Yet at the same time, neither of us can know anything about him beyond the total impression made upon our receptive minds. The above is extremely crude attempt to explain a system which reconciles all existing schools of philosophy. And tomorrow we will start with a couple pages that Crowley tries to explain the law of Thelema. So that's it for today. I hope you have a wonderful weekend and will be with us tomorrow for Saturday morning cartoons. Until then, continue to be good to yourself, be good to each other, and do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Love is the law, love under will.